Hey guys, this is Sam with the Oratory Post. Before I let this video begin, I want to take a moment of silence out of respect for my uncle who passed away last week. Hence why I've been all over the place, not uploading on time, and even editing has been subpar. Uh, Mind and heart and everything else in between is heavy and flooded with emotions. So uh, I will let a short, brief moment of silence. And if you get around to watching the entire video, at the very end, just a little short memoriam. And that's that. Thank you. Bye. Hey guys, this is Sam with the Oratory Post, the OPOG. I'm here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, June 27th, 2020, 1 week after the aftermath. After the Trump rally no-show, etc., etc. Don't worry, I do have my face mask just in case, but let's just say there's not a lot of foot traffic as there was yesterday, and I think the air has cleared up a little bit. I am actually at the corner of where the BOK Center is at. We'll get a little bit closer. Just want to show you guys what Tulsa looks like after the mayhem, if you want to call it that, without the mayhem. You may recall in one of the other videos I had made a mention of the U.S. Post Office here. I'm coming up to South Denver and 3rd Street, which is basically the location of the BOK Center. So as you can see behind me, there it goes. As I had mentioned, when I first moved here, I had thought, like so many people, that it was actually the Box Center, because that's how it's spelled. And I know probably by now you guys are tired of me mentioning it, but I make a point to let people know that it's not Bach, it is Bank of Oklahoma, BOK Center. Just one of those local banks, local big banks, and whatnot. So yeah, here was the scene of where all the Trump supporters were on June 19th, when the rally was supposed to be originally held. Everybody was camped up on this side. If you remember, I did upload a video. I will link to it. I think YouTube will allow me to link it during the video. As you can see, this is really up and down this street where everybody was at. And there it was. All right, guys, I took a moment to redo the microphone so it would be facing me, but this is the front edge and entrance of the BOK Center. It's rather windy today. If you saw in the run-up to this video, I did a little kind of a scenic shot of my drive from South Tulsa, Southwest Tulsa to downtown Tulsa, which is northeast of where I am at. If you guys remember, this was full of people. If you remember, the concert stage was there. That's where the president had hoped to come out, I believe, to throngs of his supporters. And we all know what happened to that. If you also remember, right around there, that's where that pink Women for Trump bus was at. And that's that. Let's appreciate the beauty of the Tulsa skyline of sorts. It's actually pretty considerable. I've lived across the United States, and while it's not some cosmopolitan hotspot, it's got its own little charm to it. And I love it. That's why I'm still here. I remember last week there was also a video where I had focused on, this is the bus station, how it was, well, first of all, locked off. It is a Saturday, so not much business, but, or you know, routes or whatever, trips. But this was much kind of a staging ground for, I think, a lot of the police and a lot of the riot squad folks, SWAT police, whatever. I don't know all the terminology. If you remember, they were around up here, kind of ready for action. Thankfully, nothing much happened last week. I didn't want to capture them on video. I didn't want to get in any trouble, but nothing really happened here last week other than no show rally. So yeah, now I'm gonna focus the camera on me, and let's just go for a little stroll in the park, I guess. So yeah, like I told you, they were here. This was all cordoned off. I believe cordoned off all the way up until where I'll let you guys know where. More empty streets. I think this is, if I remember correctly, the barrier was. No, the barrier was right up to here. This was blocked off right here. This road here was blocked off, and if you can see where that wall, that building that had the anti-Trump scribes in the windows was. Man, I should have brought a lens with some zooming capability. I did not bring it, but one says pray, vote, protect Black lives. Jesus was brown. COVID is real, and so is systemic racism. All the way up there, it says BLM. And previously, it said fuck DJT. I wish that was still up, but I guess it's down for ordinance issues or reasons. I don't know what the name of this building is, but it was on South Cheyenne and 4th. But let's go up to it and see. So this building is called the Adams. There's a young lady, I think, unfortunately mentally ill and not being taken care of. That's unfortunate. But anyhow, so this is a historic place of sorts. And so that was cordoned off. And if I remember correctly, me and my wife, we made our little escape. I forgot where, to be honest. I think it was this alley. I don't know. It's a little disorienting because everything was just so different. This little alleyway, I don't know. It was fun though. Or was it that alleyway? I think it was that way. Yeah, it was blocked off there. And we got out this way. So in between South Boulder and South Cheyenne, at what, 4th, Boulder and Cheyenne in between. This was a little alley that was open, and somehow we got in and out, which was fun. So yeah. All right, guys, I'm back at 406 South Boulder. And also walking up to the Tulsa World Building. This is actually the road. As I walk, I made the same video last week, and let me walk on the side of the road so you guys can get that same perspective I gave last week. But basically, this is where everybody was camped out again. Originally, if you remember me saying that everybody at first was camping out at the BOK Center, and I believe there was some sort of, and I haven't confirmed, but I believe there was some sort of curfew. I don't know if the curfew was being enforced, or if the fact that certain blocks around the arena had to be federalized for the purpose that there were reports that quote unquote the Boogaloo Boys, supposedly a bunch of guys basically dressed in Hawaiian type shirts, funky, silly shirts. And they brought their Second Amendment rights to bring rifles, but with the president in town, there has to be some sort of controls on that. So they federalized it and had to move people out. But yeah, everything you've seen behind me was where everybody relocated to with their tents and their tailgates and whatnot. If you remember, the fun really kind of ended right here, sort of. Here, let's see, at the corner of 3rd Street, and I am lost. Like I'm gonna get run over, just like last week when I think this is where I almost got hit by the Secret Service. But these roads are really empty, as you can see. I'm walking right up on the corner of the Tulsa World building. I don't know if you guys caught that right, but that's where that's our main newspaper here in Tulsa. I can't say that I am a regular avid reader. I suffer from information overload, if anything. Man, I'm trying to remember if correctly. This is where a potential scuffle happened, where, if you guys remember, somebody said they were hit by a car, but then it turned out to be maybe a mistake, or just a mistake, or a mistaken misperception, miscommunication. But then that person got pepper sprayed because everybody went to that truck and was, I guess, rumbling on it, or pounding on it, which again, I don't, I don't support mob justice, I guess. I think the best thing to do at that point was to have gotten their license tag plate number, which some people had done by that time, and just go from there. But if you remember, I made a video regarding Sincere Terry. She diffused and reorganized the group of marchers, and she did so effectively. And proud to say I was in her presence while doing so. I think she did a great job. So I still sing my praises to her. I don't know her. I don't know her personally at all. Heck, at this point, it might be actually kind of weird that I brought her up on two single instances, or three, made a video. But I think it's important to empower not only voices of change, but and activists, but people that actually go out and do things and actually get things done. I ran for office a couple of years ago, lost. That's nothing like being a marcher, to be honest. What I just did in an hour that day, I'm still aching from. So I think it's important that we not only empower people that actually get things done, but it's important that we empower women, and especially women of color. I hate saying that. I hate saying that term. I always feel like it's a pejorative, but it's just, I guess, a part of our political lexicon now that we have to mention that. But empowering women of color to be the leaders that they are, to be the leaders, the vocal, the passionate, the ambitious, and many a society have had great leaders that were men, but I feel as though that, and I'm not saying this to win liberal points or you know uh, uh, and I'm not running for office to win any aka black points or brownie points or whatever you want to call it, but it's just the fact that throughout history it's always been the woman that has had the pulse of how a family is, of what a nation is like, how a nation is. What do I mean by that? Sort of like it's the mother who sends her child off to war. It's her mother. It's the mother that loses her child to police violence. It's the mother who loses her husband to discriminating, hurtful, illegal policing tactics and policies. It is the mother who is a witness to all of this, but they are not silent witnesses. And this does not preclude non-mothers. What I'm saying is it also affects sisters, sisters that grow up maybe brotherless and fatherless, and through no fault of their own, but more so through the fault of a society that does not have equitable policies in regards to policing, and the handing down of punishment and sentences for crimes that really are not a big deal in retrospect. But not just that, but historically, statistically, it's shown that, and I'm gonna get it exactly for you and sourced later for you guys, but where even though African Americans are about 12% of the population, police stops is infinitely more than that, many times more than that. And not just that, even for Hispanics and Asian Americans. And I think it turns out that Hispanics are the ones that are the least likely to actually be guilty of that crime, whereas African Americans are guilty of the crime and are usually jailed more harshly, even for the same crime that a white person or another racial group in the United States is punished with. So what's the point? What's the point of me going on and on? Is it truly lies with the woman, with the sister, with the mom, with the aunt, the power, the pulse, the temperature of how society, how their neighborhoods are going, how communities are feeling. And I think the more we empower, give voices, give platforms, the better. I think it's not just not just a good thing to do or a good feel thing to do, not just a political thing to do, not just vote for me thing to do. It's not just a subscribe and watch me thing to do, which I actually do want you guys to watch me and subscribe. But it's sort of denominate. Wait a second. Let me cross this road safely before I keep going. Let's see. All right. So let's see. Beautiful Tulsa. Anyhow, walking up on Jimmy John's, getting me hungry. Anyhow, it's that empowerment that's not just necessary and required, but man, the word escapes my mind, my mouth, my lips. It is impungent. It is. Anyhow, you get my point, guys. It is. let me pick up from there. I didn't want the recording file to anything to happen to it, but not to expound upon this topic further, but it's I will end on this topic on something. Geez, I hope I'm not making an ass out of myself. But was it Shakespeare? I forget the story where the women basically made men beg to come home and not continue going on endless wars. And what did they do? They withheld sex. And every time they came home to, I guess, restock their supplies and get their loving in, their wives would not permit them further. Sorry, I have to use this word, but entry. So, all right, it is actually 9:11 p.m., June 27th. 2020. I'm in front of the One Oklahoma Plaza. I am standing right at 111th West 5th Street. We have really weird nomenclature when it comes to our streets. Yeah, and I forgot to do a little shout out to my hat. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, I have my little Desert Storm thing going on here today, and I found these little patches on Facebook, Amazon. It says press, and then it has it in Arabic, Sahafi, which stands for, I thought journalist, but journalist, press, same thing. Here's the Mayo Hotel. I'll look into it more later. It's really nice. The madam here says hi because she's really fancy.
How's it going?
I thought she complimented me earlier saying I looked good, but she was talking about herself, so that's a bunch of egg on my face, like they say. But no, I wanted to do I did a vlog last week covering the no-show rally. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. But sorry. Did you say which rally?
No, I said, what's your name?
Sam.
I can look it up.
If you want, yeah, Sam, or you can look it up, the oratory post. I wish I was carrying my cards with me, but oratory, like someone that speaks, ORATORY POST. I only have 8 subscribers, so if I get an increase of 4, I know who it is. So,
Hey.
but yeah, I just wanted to compare this week to last week. Even with it being a no-show per se, there was a lot of action out here. I was there.
There was a lot of action,
Yeah.
and hey,
It was safe.
thanks to Donald Trump, I had a lot of mower sale this year.
Mower sale,
Mower
like
sales.
cutting grass.
Mower, yep.
I used to live in Alabama. I went to Auburn for my undergrad. I'm an SEC guy, but I lived on 5 acres, so I know a lot about tractors and things going wrong at the wrong time and finding fire ants lodged up in between the belts. But let's not get started on that. Y'all be safe. Y'all have fun and be healthy. Bye. And 4 more years to whoever, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So random people. People are in a good mood. Saturday, weeknight. I am now at, man, we do a bad job of street corner names. I think 5th and 5th and something, whatever. Probably doesn't matter. However, my point in walking this direction is to walk towards the Cox Business Center. Cox as in C as in Charlie, O as in Omega, X as in xylophone. The communication internet cable company. The president had expected that it would be so rambunctiously overcrowded that people would overflow there, as well as the concert rally. And again, we know how that turned out. So maybe I'm just adding insult to injury at this point. Maybe it's annoying. Maybe it's repetitive. Maybe I'm rubbing salt in the wound. Oh, hey, this is how we escaped. This was our escape route last week, if you remember. The point of entry or exit that we figured out and did so before the police found out. Sorry, Tulsa PD, but you guys need to tighten up your game. Keep things safe. But yeah, I'm walking towards the Cox Business Center, and we'll have a quick look at it, and that should wrap things up. There's the Cox Business Center. I'm thinking it's like a convention center, a convention hall of sorts, probably a stage. I'm thinking it is connected to the BOK Center, which is on the other side of that building. I don't know if there is an underground entrance, and I only mention that because you can see an underground structure on both sides, and that's because you have some of the, I think this is the sheriff's office, and you can see it's saying the sheriff's office down there. I don't know if you can read that, but yeah. And it's connected to the Tulsa County office. So I'm wondering if there is a underground connection. And again, we're walking in the eastern direction at night on June 27th, 2020, Saturday, a week after Donald Trump's no-show rally, and just wanting to show people that Tulsa is not usually the rowdy, rambunctious place it seemed to be, and that's just given 7,000 actual attendees. So I can only imagine if a full 20,000 filled it up, and according to campaign manager Brad Parscales, et cetera, quote unquote, that a million signed up. So we're going to have 400, 300,000 or 100,000 here. Okay, come on, guys. You know, I'm not for lying. But if you're going to lie, do a semi-decent job of it. Come on. I'm going to do my bit of jaywalking as I cross the street to get back to my car, walking towards the BOK Center. So I had mentioned to the gentleman and his wife that day how I just think it's dangerous when a country and a society become balkanized. And I'm referring to like the Balkans, Albania, Kosovo, Yugoslavia, even Middle Eastern countries like Syria, North Africa, Algeria, Egypt, Russia, etc., etc. When it comes to authoritarian countries, you have this phenomena occur where the president will kind of carve out his own security force, if not immediate. He will cater to an institutional security force. So, for example, President Trump is all gung-ho about the police. The police, you know, he always makes that comment about, well, you know, I always wonder when you guys put the criminal, etc., the arrestee into the car, you guys always put your hand on his head. I tell you, you guys should just go ahead and bash his head in. And then he gets a round of applause. And then, you know, he does the whole, Democrats want to defund the police and there be chaos and you know, we're going to back the cops. And it says, sure, the president should back the cops, but the president should also back the people. He should also back his supporters. He should also back the people that don't support him, because he's the president of the United States of America, not president of the Republican Party, not president of the Republican Party plus the police. And you may be thinking that I'm overdoing this, but if I am not mistaken, it was General Mark Milley who wrote that letter after the Lafayette Park incident, where he basically told all the other parts of the military that, hey, we're the military, we are the esteemed United States military, we serve the people of the United States of America, and we fight and uphold the Constitution, and what it stands for in its ideals, as it is perceived or perceptive. I forget the word today, meaning they are not to be goose stepping, security henchmen for the president. They are there to be defenders of the Constitution, defenders of the people of America, the American civilian populace, as well as defenders of the homeland, both domestically and abroad, geostrategically, domestically and abroad, our interest as well. I am walking up to the BOK Center as we speak. This will be a great way to end the video. They've got a nice pinkish hue. I'm thinking, I believe it is Pride Month, and so let's have that in the background. So yeah, as I mentioned, the worst thing that can happen is to have a country that becomes divided on not only on the basis of race, but also the basis of politics, socioeconomic, sociopolitical, sociocultural stratums or strata, to then not divide them, but also empower them with not just a political fuel, but also physical means to quote unquote, gain their political wants and demands. Now, here's the irony. Their political wants and demands are not aligned with the political wants and demands and ambitions of those that fuel them, aka the Republican Party. In their immediate and long-term interest and viability, what is wanted by the Republican Party is not in the interest of the common Republican voter. And you could say the same for particular elements of the Democratic Party. But I can objectively, with all my intellectual honesty on the line, say that I feel like with the Republican Party, it is more rampant, more virulent, more almost blindly accepted, blindly followed the sorts of policies and supported with no thought, with no consideration for their own welfare and interest to the individual, as well as to the collective, to the community, which that right just there might be a disqualifier of a word, collective. So yeah. Anyhow, having said that, let's end it right there. I think this was a good video. And let's do one more pan of the city. Let me zoom in. I hope we're capturing that beautiful color. I'm liking that rainbow color there. And here's the BOK Center. If you remember, let's walk up to it. If you remember, there was the merchandise store right there. And it is gone now. It's a good arena, and hopefully sometime in the future when events open up again, I'll be able to give you guys a better tour. That is the least I can do for you, and completing the picture, giving you guys the entire picture is what I strive to do here at the Oratory Post, the OP, OG, whatever you want to call me. Hey, that kind of rhymed. I'm gonna make that my new intro, or what's it called, extra, byline, whatever. You get my point. All right, guys. I can't know if you guys see me or not. This is Sam from Tulsa, June 21st, 2020. no-show rally the week after. And we'll leave it on that. Thank you guys, and bye.